Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
Cut it off! I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody. I mean, damn it! I'm ticked off!
What's up, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter? It's Nathan back with another video presentation, another episode of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, Season 10, Episode 28. I hope you're all having a great Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope the work week was go. Hope the start of the work week was great for you. School as well. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. Congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces, as they are your 2022 WNBA champions. So I felt like it was a good time to end season 10 with a special guest in episode 30. So be tuned in for that. Episode 29, I'm going to talk about the Washington Commanders versus the Detroit Lions. Be tuned in for that as well. The other episodes, they will be uploaded. I'll have episodes uploaded by tomorrow. But for now, be tuned in. Painfully, my weekend literally the Miami Dolphins defeated the Baltimore Ravens 42-38.
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airwaves, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
The Ravens were looking very well to a week 2 win. Lamar Jackson, who, just for the record, had an MVP-like performance. He had 119 rushing yards. The last time he did that was last year, week 2. But they say he can't throw the ball. Interesting. Where do I begin? The first half looked very well for the Ravens. However, second half was totally different. I thought the key was the second half. I felt like Baltimore just didn't kind of took the foot off the gas. I mean, after 3 quarters, we were up 35-14. Lamar Jackson, who finished the game with 21 to 29 passes, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. The last time that type of performance he had, I think, was 75 yards passing and 175 yards of rushing. Last time we've seen that was Michael Vick. He broke Michael Vick's record. It was his 11th 100-yard rushing game as a quarterback. Miami won that game. I've always been a fan of Tua. I think he silenced his critics. I feel like the first half, they literally just were a bag of shells. I mean, the first half, he was 12 of 20, 150 yards. And the only really person that really showed the pulse in that first half was Jalen Waddle. They really, really rallied. The offensive line too, that didn't have Armstead, didn't have Austin Jackson. They stepped up well as well. I've said this since really last year. The Ravens really truly lack pass rushing, and I felt like that was one a reason that we lost. But I thought another reason, we just couldn't make plays defensively. Yes, we could talk about the injuries and all those different things like that. I understood we have rookies out there, but they didn't make adjustments on the deep throw or really taking the momentum out of Miami. There was the Marcus Williams drop interception. But I mean, Marcus Peters, who's coming off his injury, he was rusty out there. I mean, Marlon Humphrey got hurt. I mean, we're relying on Damarian Williams, Jalen Armour-Davis, and Kyle Hamilton, rookies that are going to have growing pains. I thought also too was key was that just within those 12 minutes, Baltimore literally offensively had no answers. After that 70-yard touchdown by Lamar, that rest of that offense only 89 yards on 18 plays for 3 points. And don't get me started with this running game, because this running game is absolutely trash. And I mean that. No disrespect, but Kenyon Drake, I don't know what it is with him. I understand he has speed. I thought Mike Davis would have been a great pickup. But Mike Davis ran the ball 5 times and only ran for 4 yards. Kenyon Drake ran the ball 6 times, 8 yards. Justice Hill, 3 attempts on 16 yards.
They are trash. Horrible.
Where's the running game? I mean, no disrespect, but you had 2 cats on this team last year, and Devontae Freeman and Latavius Murray. I mean, these 3, and no disrespect to Justice Hill, but Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake, they have shown in the first 2 games nothing. But also, too, the offensive line has to take some blame, has to take some L's on this as well. Because the offensive line, they failed to create a lot of rushing lanes. A lot of running plays were blown up, either where there was no gain or negative yards. The Ravens went 0 for 4 at the goal line in the first quarter. And that sabotaged an 18-yard drive, that 18-play drive that could have ended the touchdown. In the short yard game, this is where Gus Williams really matters. J.K. Dobbins has explosiveness. But the fact that we did not make any adjustments and try to take the momentum from Miami was key. I thought I think that in the passing, I think they did a very good job at preventing sacks and also Lamar getting hit. But the running game was absolutely horrendous. Another thing, let's talk about it. As much as I want to say, as much as I wanted to say, it's only week 2, We got 16 more weeks to go. The defense, I have questions because the way you lost this game, it makes you look bad because the fact you gave up 28 fourth quarter points and the fact that you had no answers. I mean, one penalty, 0 turnovers, and somehow 28 points off the board gone. And you lost, and it's not, it's the way we lost. And again, we can point this out all we want to. It's the injuries. I get it. Not having certain guys out there. We lost Steven Means for the rest of the season. Jawan James is off for the season. Kyle Fuller's off for the season. Devin Duvernay, he got hurt late in the game. I mean, these injuries matter. But, I mean, outside of Bateman, Duvernay is your number 2. Well, really, now it's going to be DeMarcus Robinson. Because Rashard Bateman, he had a big game, 108 yards on 4 catches. But this is what's going to hurt Baltimore down the stretch, is these injuries. And I don't want to hear anything about, oh, if Greg Roman had done this or Greg Roman had done that. No, this was arguably Greg Roman's best calling of the offense. Greg Roman actually did his job. I will give him that. Was I a little disappointed with certain play calling, particularly on that, when you only scored 3 points within that fourth quarter? Absolutely. You were down 3. For example, it's a 3rd and 3. You gained 2 yards on a power run, and then for no gain on the fourth down call, you get the same thing. You know, you're not, if you know you're not getting any help from your offensive line in terms of the running game, why do you stick with that? Even though Lamar Jackson had great success in the passing game, collectively, other than Lamar, the running was terrible. And again, like, Jesus, I just feel so bad for Lamar because that's one of the best games I've seen him. He's having a good season so far. In the 2 games, he's been playing very good football. I mean, just in that first half, he only had 2 incompletions. I mean, I just feel like his day was spoiled. And then I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to this defense. I mean, the defensive line, Calais Campbell, Justin Matabuke, Justin Houston had a good game. Where's the pass rush? And I'm gonna be honest, I think he's a good coach, but welcome back to the NFL, Michael McDonald. This ain't Michigan. I mean, no pass rush, miscommunication in secondary. I mean, the fact that Tyreek Hill was able to get 2 touchdowns the way that he did, and Jalen Waddle looking like the second coming of Jerry Rice out there.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord.
Let me take a 30-second break.
dive on the bridge where the tide can't flow, snap vivid like the Nikon. Been cold with the vibe warm, keep it locked like the vice arm. They got her twisted like the coat arm, heart something froze like the snowstorm. Her tote bag match a throat charm. She from the land of the sand where they flex so subtle when her drink mint muddle. Left home and her man in the game that he played for the sand of the shade. She parades you to square in her shades. She like why you do that, niggas be deceptive. Yeah, I'm pretty restless. Long as the check is addressed to a residence. You self-heal therapy, she retail on clearance, but you shopping for clarity. Reap what she sold for the dividend. Know what time is the medicine. Copping the wristwatch, Cartier with the bezel on her credit. Demanding hers where it's due. I swear she's so sadistic, defensive, pessimistic, reclusive. She too lit, independent. She too quick to dismiss courtship. Concerned with malice. She pile up as the bout ends. She throws a talent. She clutch a half full chalice. If you from fountains, check her rap. She seek maneuver mountains.
And we're back. Yes, I mean there's plenty of blame to go around, and I had to look back at the tape because there was I didn't want to go live right away yesterday because there's so much emotion after a game like that. I mean, there was a couple times the offense should have put the game away, but I think there's no excuse to watch an entire 28-point lead in one quarter at home. That's what pisses me off. It happened at home, and you couldn't get any stops. I mean, and you couldn't. And when you needed a player offensively, couldn't execute. And this is what bothers me about the Ravens, in a sense. And I've seen this for quite some time now. The Ravens, they don't have a leader. Let me give you an example. Let me explain what I mean by that. I remember, I think it was the 2008-2009 season. And this is when Joe Flacco and Quan Bolden, those guys were with us. We're playing the Buffalo Bills. It's a home game. The Buffalo Bills, this is with Ryan Fitzpatrick, CJ Spriller, Lee Evans, and those guys. Buffalo, I think, was up 24-10 in that game. And you see at some point they cut to Ray Lewis literally grabbing everybody on the defensive side and saying, yo, man, look, we are at home. We are getting our ass kicked. We got to play better. We got the score shouldn't be like we are a better defense in this. We got to come out more aggressive. We got to be hungry. We got to communicate. And what happened? They rallied. Even though they won the game by a field goal, but that's what a leader does. A leader, he gets his troops in line and holds everybody accountable. I didn't see that at all that whole game yesterday. Not once. I didn't see Harbaugh do it. I didn't see Lamar do it. I didn't see McDaniel do it. I didn't see Calais Campbell. I didn't see anybody take any type of leadership and say, yo, we need to get it together. We were up 28 fucking points. And to see the whole league collect, no one took accountability. No one just said, no, we need to fix this. I didn't see that. And then listening to the presser, well, how will we respond? That'll be the story. Really? That's your response to watching a performance like that. To see your team do so well, and then for the second half look completely different. The Miami Dolphins won this game, and they deserved to win this game. And it hurts saying that. But what else do you want me to say? I mean, I really thought I knew all hell broke loose, where particularly those last like 5 minutes, you can tell there was miscommunication. So I don't know. I really, really don't know. If you're Miami, you did all the right things, because the vertical passing game arrived in the fourth quarter. Tua threw 4 touchdowns and outscored us 28-3. The last time that happened was Joe Montana. That was back in '89, and that happened on the road, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who he played, but I remember seeing that stat somewhere. And again, but look at also to Miami side, defensively, they didn't have a great game neither. I mean, Xavier Howard allowed Rashard Bateman to score. They have a 75-yard touchdown. Had no answers. I mean, him and Javon Holland just got burnt. I mean, the fact that just in that first half, Lamar Jackson was 11 to 13, his QBR I think was 158. But I mean, the defense didn't really do a great job. But I think also too their slow start that kind of hurt them because to allow the 103-yard kick return, and then I just think that there's this Miami slow start that put them in that hole, and the way that they recovered and we allowed it to happen says a lot more of itself. But I give the Miami Dolphins, I give them their flowers. Well-deserved win. This stings, but the Ravens will recover. I agree with how Coach Harbaugh said it, but it just bothered me that I watched that to see the whole game. When I look back at the tape, not one coach, not one player rallied the troops and said, "We need to get it together." I didn't see that. Instead, I saw a complete 360. I just saw deer in headlights. That's what I saw. I don't know what else I can say. I really don't. I don't know what next week looks like against the Patriots. And the Patriots are coming off a win. I really don't know what to expect. And also too, Rex Ryan, yeah, I heard what he said in the morning. But some of the things that Rex Ryan has said, I mean, he wasn't wrong. I mean, it wasn't the greatest it was not the greatest defensive performance. But I mean, yeah, we did a horrible job keeping them out the end zone. But I think for him, the way I think the way he said it, like they don't know what the hell they're doing. And he's like, this new hot shot corner's terrible. This is what growing pains look like. But at the same time, coming from a guy who didn't do a great job with the Jets, see, it's funny with guys like that who were in the NFL who think they were hot shots, and I respect Rex Ryan, but that kind of there's a reason why Rex Ryan's not in the NFL. Let me just leave it like that. And I do believe that as of today, they're going to get it together, and they'll be better against New England. But unfortunately, we did lose Josh Ross as well. We lost Steven Means, and it sucks. But this is what happens when you don't rally and you don't take accountability. I just didn't like, and I want to respond. I also want to get into the post game of what Coach Harbaugh said. I have the quote here, and he said, and I quote, "Obviously very disappointing. All credit goes to the Dolphins. They got the job done in the second half and in the fourth quarter. It's going to be one of the biggest comebacks probably in the history of the National Football League. We have to give them credit for it. We have to own it, every single person." I told the guys in the locker room how we respond to this. That'll be the story. We have a 17-game season. This is the second week of the season. From what we do here and on out, everyone has to take a hard look at what we did. Coaches, players, everyone, calls that we made, plays that we made, plays we didn't make. Let's come out here and have a better football game. Let's come out here and be a better football team, and get to work and get ready for the next game against New England in New England. That's the key. I'm curious to see how they respond to this. But that was really not how I expected to see that game, to watch them. I just was not expecting that. That really hurt. I'm gonna be honest. It really hurt. And I know people are gonna say, it's you're overreacting. You got 16 more weeks, but it's the way it happened. And I've seen this before. I saw it last year. Same thing with injuries. I get it. Guys were getting guys off the street. And obviously you can tell chemistry, communication, and just getting back in the field, getting back in film, I think everybody will make the right things, right, make the right choices and make the right fixes. But how do you let that happen? And not once, and I'm going to keep saying that, and not one coach or player rallied, took leadership and saying, we got to fix this.
This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people.
You know what? That clip ain't even worth it. It's not. But I mean, when I'm looking at these stats, I mean, everybody did a good job offensively. I mean, Mark Andrews and Rashard Bateman were your two leading receivers. I mean, obviously the key was Tyreek. I mean, the players of the game was Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Their running game, really, honestly, Morset was their leading rusher with 51. But the fact that Tua threw 6 touchdowns, 469 yards.
Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked, or the second half. We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk.
So, I don't know when J.K. Dobbins will be back. I know Coach Harbaugh talked about some updates on him. And obviously, and I look at it like this too. Why am I going to rush him back with an offensive line like that? Let that sink in. I think he can make some adjustments on the offensive line. I've pushed for my man, but he ain't getting it done. I think you need Ben Powers got to go to the bench. I think you need to put Ben Cleveland in there. I just think you just need somebody in there. Patrick McCarry's too small. He's not really a guard. He's more of a center or a tackle. You gotta have some bodies in there, because to create to watch them. Oh my God. This stings. And on top of that too, I had to call this other person out. As much as I think he's doing a decent job, Eric DaCosta. I mean, he signed Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake. What did you see in these guys to make you believe, oh, okay, they're going to do things? I mean, they haven't done anything. I mean, what was different? But again, my question is, what was different from Latavius Murray and Dante Freeman last year? They know the system. They know what they're doing. But we're bringing in guys that just couldn't get anything going. So I ain't gonna lie, some of these signings he's made, he's kind of goofed on. I think Marcus Williams, he's definitely been a big difference with the defense. And no, I don't think Baltimore needs to trade Chuck Clark, but the lack of a pass rush is from what I saw, that has to be addressed. That can no longer be ignored. I'm sorry, it just can't. I know it's overreaction Monday. But again, we had not just that. I mean, just the defensive line just couldn't get anything going. And I know it's only week 2, but let's move on to the last subject of the evening, and that is final message.
Incoming message.
As I am still recovering from this football game, my final message is just take time for yourself. I think that's important. I think one thing I've noticed in our society, I think we make times for other things and not ourselves. I think it's important that you take care of yourself, because when you take care of yourself, good things happen, and you don't slip up on anything. I know it may not be easy, whether it's going for a walk, journaling, going out to the movies, going out to dinner, little self-care things. Like, those things are important. I think we should do as self individuals. So I think that's the key. But ladies and gentlemen, that's just my final message. Be tuned in for future episodes. Thank you so much for being a part of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. I apologize if I'm very, very angry, because my weekend, it literally went from 0 to 100 real quick, and I was really close to breaking my phone, and also but learning one thing when covering a sport is there's a lot of emotion after a game. You got to take some deep breaths. You got to look back at the tape. And when I looked back at the tape, I was disgusted. And I really do hope that the Ravens get together. I do believe they'll win against New England week 3, excuse me. But this stings. It stings. Probably by Wednesday or Thursday, I'll shake it off. But I know I'm going to hear it for a couple days. And So with that being said, please like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Stay up. Peace.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.